Today's redstone video is going to be a little bit different because in this one we're going to be experimenting with various different fun concepts and different things to play with in the latest snapshots in Minecraft. This should be interesting, but before we start I just want to say I'm not promising that all of them are going to work. Now this first one is something that I came up with just recently, which hopefully, fingers crossed, if this thing works, will be awesome for things like multiplayer servers, because what I wanted to do is provide other players. So say for example you've got yourself like a hidden base, maybe it's somewhere on an ocean, maybe you want to be able to direct players to it. Okay, that's kind of the plan. So what you can do is you can set up a system that will show them the way to go in the water. I hope that makes sense. Now I wonder, can we do this entirely using observers? So if we place a chain of observers going through the center here, I'm trying to work out how I would actually power all of these droppers. If we place a line of observers going through the center just like this, and it wraps around like that, and wraps around like this, if we run observers off of this, it will work. Yeah, it will work. I mean, we might get some double dispensings, but that's no problem. This doesn't even look like a redstone contraption, does it? This is what's crazy about all of these observer-based builds, is that they never end up actually looking like a redstone contraption. I mean, look at this. Anyway, now that the redstone's in place, it's now time to actually build up a sort of mini aquarium that this thing is going to be placed under so that we can test it out in real-world conditions. I have to admit, I'm kind of a little bit nervous about this one. Alright, we just need one more observer, and that should actually trigger the entire thing. Here goes. Well, that's very satisfying to watch. Very satisfying to watch indeed. What's going to happen once we get some water involved? Let's find out. Right, here goes. Placing in the lever. Probably the most disappointed I've ever been. There's not even anything that is salvageable with that. That's a total failure. It doesn't even look... It just doesn't even... How has that gone so wrong? How did an item end up over here? There's no way... There's no pattern to this in the slightest. It's literally as if the items have just spewed out everywhere. I don't think I can't remember being this disappointed with the redstone contraption's outcome before. I really can't. But I'm not one to be defeated, so I've come up with an idea that could potentially make this work. I've mined out an area inside the sand to make sure the items can float upwards and maybe not spread everywhere. This is slightly better, but some of the items seem to be struggling to pop out. And they do group together a lot. Yeah, this is a total fail. So someone sent to me on Twitter the other day that if you place a block of sand, a falling sand, on top of the water bubbles, it bumps up and down like this. And it is much cooler than I thought it was. Look at that! Oh, I wonder if there's any way that we could use this. We must be able to use this somehow. I don't know if this is much of a use, but it should end up looking pretty cool. Whoa! That is not what I was expecting to happen. That's hilarious. That's so strange. Oh, it's making my eyes go a bit. It's making my eyes go a bit funny. I wonder if we can use this to transport sand upwards, like a sand elevator. Oh, wow. Right, let's have a look. I've constructed a sort of system that is going to push our sand into this bubbly area here, and we'll see if it gets shot upwards. It really does! That absolutely flies! Oh my word, we could have like high-speed sand transport. Can we push this across using a piston? I'm assuming it breaks it. It must break it. Let's have a look. No! Surely not. So if I was to place a block here, let's give this another go, because this has me very excited if this is working. I have no idea who has a use for high-speed sand elevators. I don't know if there's a corner in the market for them, but if you can push this across... What? That's just turned back into a solid block! Oh my word, we've actually created something that works in today's video. I wasn't expecting that after the catastrophic failure of the start. I'm gonna build this bigger. So first things first, let's see if this thing actually makes it up to the top. It does, and it's very satisfying to watch. Okay, now we need to create some form of system that is going to detect when this guy arrives here. Maybe a tripwire. A tripwire is probably not a bad idea. So we'll have a tripwire up at the top here, and then it will have some serious delay, and then a little piston will just push across, pushing it off to one side. And then we can have pistons that will move it around. I think that could be our system. So let's see. Have I got my timings right? So that goes in. It has to make it past all of the squid. That brings a tear to the eye. So we have just transported that sand block from all the way down there, all the way up to the top here. As I say... Oh my word, I wonder if it works with anvils. Give me a second. Now, because anvils are a bit funny in the way that they work and they can only be pushed while they're moving, I've had to do something a little bit interesting with this one, but hopefully it functions. There's a chance that the anvil's just a little bit... Oh no, it doesn't seem to be in a water stream. It's almost as if it traveled too far. Yeah. Instead of the slime block, I've switched over to a triple piston extender. Now, I just need to place in this final piston here, and that should do the trick. So, fingers crossed, this thing actually works. Alright, placing in the anvil. I wasn't expecting that to work at all. Let's see, let's see. No! Yes! It kind of worked. It broke a little bit. But... we've just transported an anvil. How many blocks? Way more blocks than you would normally transport an anvil. Oh my word. This is so stupid. Now this is just out of pure curiosity. I wonder if the anvil traveling at such high speeds actually causes damage to things like entities and players. Now, I did actually start up a LAN world, but unfortunately multiplayer doesn't seem to be working for me. So let's try this out with a villager instead. So it goes up. No, it doesn't look like it. I think an anvil only causes damage when it actually hits the ground. Oh, that's a shame. Otherwise I thought we could have like underwater just missiles that launch up from the ocean floor. And speaking of missiles, that squid's traveling pretty quick, but yeah, missiles that launch up from the ocean floor and just destroy players. That'd be amazing, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it works. That being said, this is quite strange. We're going to be moving on from these crazy elevators and things like that for the time being, because there's a redstone contraption that I recently built in my aquarium that kind of worked but didn't quite work as well as I expected, and that was the underwater chest. And that's something that I really want to nail because I feel like it could look really cool, and I think now that I've messed around with soul sand a little bit more, I kind of understand how all the game mechanics work. So we need to create a 3 wide area, and we need to make sure that all of the blocks in here have adjacent water box. Yeah, that should be easy enough. Now that I've actually thought about it, it's a little bit more complicated than I thought. So this will need to retract back to here, then down underneath we're going to have ourselves some slime blocks, which will be retracting all of these, which means that all of these need to be immovable objects, but that's fine because they'll mainly be hidden by the side of it. And then down here we're going to need a triple piston extender. Yeah, and it needs to go 1 block further back than that. I've done a little bit of work on this, and I've come up with a slightly new design, which is a little bit different from the old one, but this one involves just one single triple piston extender, and we also retract these gold blocks out of the way. So you can see we move those gold blocks out of the way, and then we push the lid of the box back, and then the gold blocks re-extend, giving us a working treasure chest. One thing that we are forgetting though is the little buckle that goes down at the bottom, and then if we flick the lever here, you can see that our gold blocks retract, our lid retracts off, and then the gold blocks pop back up. Okay, I think it's gonna work. Let's start filling this thing in with water. So let's have a look. If we flick this lever right here, you can see that everything opens up, and yes, we have actually got bubbles popping out from our little treasure chest. It works! We've managed to create ourselves a working system. And there we go, we close everything back up, and the bubbles stop, and our treasure chest is left looking like a treasure chest. The only slight problem is that obviously we have these two gaps right here, but that's not too much. It's not too much of a big deal. When you have like a crazy coral reef with all sorts of different slabs and things, I think it can sort of kind of fit in. Anyway, that's that. I'm very happy with that. I'm extremely happy with this thing. That was hilarious, and that was a total failure. I never want to look at it again. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please also hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later. Oh, and standard filming channel stuff. You know the